Now, I've got a question for the audience, and I want you to be honest with me. If you can raise your hand, please, if you use ChatGPT or any other AI tool in the last 48 hours. Raise your hand. In the last 48 hours, okay, that's 80%. Now, what about the last 24 hours? Raise your hands again if you used it in the last 24 hours. Okay, almost us. What about you, gentlemen? Yes, you have as well? No? Okay. Now, this is a really good one, and you're safe on this one. Who of you who raised your hands has read actually the terms and conditions? Raise your hand if you have. There's 2, 3, 2.5, 2.5. Now, it's a fun moment, but what does that actually show us, right? It's about the hidden moments, right? It's about what are we not seeing? And this is exactly the kind of hidden challenges that we want to now discuss in this next panel. We want to explore exactly what kind of hidden challenges are there. And this panel is not about slowing down innovation, right the opposite. It's about seeing it clearly. It's about AI's hidden costs, what the numbers actually don't show you. That's what we'll find out. This panel will now examine real-world complexities of AI integration, including unexpected infrastructure demands, ethical dilemmas. It's about data privacy concerns and workflow disruptions. These are a few of the topics that we will now discuss, and this conversation is moderated by someone who exactly knows where the weak spots are. He's the CEO of the German AI Association, KI Bundesverband Germany, Daniel Abbou. And as a CEO, he oversees and is representing 500 members working on the future of AI right here in Europe. He is also the founder of AI Hub and bridges public policy with private sector needs, insights, and of course, the urgency that this sector needs. And now let's welcome also our speakers to the stage. His Excellency Younus Al Nasser, Chief Executive, Dubai Data and Statistics Establishment Digital Dubai. Dr. Carolina Pinart, AVP and Group Head, R&D IT, Nestle Switzerland. Antonia Bruhn, Head of Data Policy, DACH German Amazon Web Services, and Dr. Valerio Rizzo, AI Lead, EMEA Lenovo Italy. Please give them all a warm welcome.
So, hello everyone. So, yes, I'm Daniel Abbou from the German AI Association. Let's hope that the microphone works and it doesn't peep too much. So we're talking today about the hidden costs of AI in so many levels. And I'm very glad that you, Your Excellency, are besides me, because the Dubai government is considered a leader in AI adoption, from power data science to decision-making, policy creation even. That would be very interested how this would work in Germany. But what can you walk us through exactly what the city has achieved so far in this domain?
I think if you look at Dubai level, there is a lot has been achieved on digital transformation and especially advancements of AI. When we look at it, there are a couple of areas that is an interest to you. One, in the increasing the productivity level of the emirate, especially on the employees and their well-being. Second is definitely on operational efficiencies and the way that the government is running its back-end systems and the way that we are offering the services to the end users. Last but not least, we are also empowering the decision-making, where we are making the city more proactive rather than being reactive. And to do so, we've also had a journey of a transformation where we are not only focusing on the government, but we are focusing on the entire city to be transformed over here. And some of the outstanding products that we have in hand at the moment is Dubai Now. That is one of our flagship products that's providing you proactive services. Then we do have Dubai Dashboard, where you do have all sectors in Dubai with more than 34 dashboards, providing you in real-time data with insights where it's being analyzed using generative AI to give you recommendations and proactive actions for our decision makers. And of course, all of this is happening in a well-governed way with advanced policies and regulations that strikes the balance between two areas. One, we need to look into how do you really provide value and the value creation, but also on the second, also we need to be safe and making sure those implementations doesn't compromise any security or any confidentiality of individuals in Dubai. And striking the balance is always what Dubai has been good at. So we are not just looking on return of investment, but also we are looking on the return of the future, because we know our investment in the technology and every dollar as we spend over there makes us more future-proof, more ready. Dubai wants to become top in attracting talents. Dubai wants to become #1 in becoming a digital city worldwide and become an example. So investing in technology is not only about today, it's also about tomorrow. So being future-proof, this is what we are really working on. And the 2.5 decades of transformation have really paid us to come this far and to become among top leader cities globally, economically, socially, but also just like when it comes to technology advancement. So our focus on enhancing now our transformation with AI is also just like provides us a return on investment, provides us a return on employees and their well-being and our citizens, but also being more future-proof.
Was it hard to convince people in adopting AI in government structures, in the whole city itself? What kind of convincing you had to do?
Well, I think in UAE, it's very clear that just like having a clear vision really drives the transformation. And the vision comes top down. The leadership of United Arab Emirates and Dubai wants the transformation and wants Dubai to become a top city in the world. So to do that, it's like everyone else works among this vision and making that, I would say, vision into reality. So the transformation starts from top down, and that is one of the approaches that we saw. It's like it really pays off and aligns everyone towards what the country is trying to achieve.
Antonia, AWS is doing a lot, of course, in this whole infrastructure game. I think in my personal experience, like when ChatGPT came out, it was all about the hype. Now it's about adoption. Where do you see the key points in adoption in AI at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in such an interesting time. We just heard about who's using ChatGPT, but also what we're seeing is that the uptick in AI is even faster than it was in the mobile revolution, right? So when we measured, I don't know who's old enough to remember when the first mobile phones and then the smartphones came out, how that was such a quick adoption. I mean, who's here today without a smartphone? Probably no one, I'm thinking. But the adoption in AI is even quicker. So that's crazy. And how fortunate are we to be living in this time, in this fascinating time? You just said future-proofing. I think that's such an interesting and important word, because the future is sort of happening now. But to your point and your question, Daniel, in terms of adoption of AI, so we're actually seeing an interesting trend. So we just did a huge study this year in terms of which enterprises are adopting AI. And we're seeing startups, as you can imagine, 68% are adopting AI really quickly and deeply in their operations, so beyond chatbots, right? So within their product. Whereas enterprises, large-scale enterprises, are only doing this at 53%. So there's a 15% gap. And that's worrisome to some extent, because it means that larger enterprises are kind of missing out on this revolution. And we've been coining this as the two-tier economy, right? So the startups are nimble, are adopting this quickly, and enterprises are lagging behind to some extent.
Isn't it even worse with SMEs in Europe with the adoption rate? I think that, as you said, or in my experience, that large companies are not playing the AI game really, but it's even worse with small and medium companies. Or what is your thinking about it?
So probably it depends on what sectors you're looking into. I think the newer companies on the market, so the startups younger than 10 years, I think is what we defined it. They're really quick. Also because, they're nimble, always out for efficiencies, they're likely to adopt it. But if we look, of course, at the German market, where we have a very strong industrial base in the SME sphere, that's also, I think, something where it's still lagging behind.
But is the fear of the hidden cost, which is our topic in this discussion, is this the reason why some enterprises are not adopting AI?
Yeah, I think there are several reasons that we found. Partially, it's also uncertainty in the regulatory sphere. So I know, I mean, we could talk about this for hours. I don't want to bore everyone. But I do think, like, we had one company coming back to us and saying, trying to fulfill all regulatory requirements is like playing a puzzle where the pieces keep changing, you know? So you're like trying to puzzle it together, but then a new piece comes in.
Yeah.
And certainly that's something that can create uncertainty. People want to get it right, and that's not really conducive to adoption. That's certainly one thing we're seeing.
Valerio, how do you see the point of adoption in AI? What challenges do you see, and how do you implement it at Lenovo, for example?
So I share the same view that that was just depicted by the US, but so there is a wide adoption. Everything exploded with ChatGPT and the new capabilities emerging from this type of transformers model. So we are like facing this wave of adoption, and there are a multi-dimensional kind of set of challenges when it comes to adoption. In our case, we are trying to help the customer to tackle all those challenges. And I mean, again, this is one of the topics you can talk for hours, but those dimensions includes infrastructural problem. One of those is the rise of compute power needs, power draw. So CPUs were crossed the threshold of 500 watts. GPUs crossed the threshold of 1,000 watts. And in total, a rack can go up to 10 kilowatts. Like a data center can easily go above 1 megawatts. Yeah. It's a lot of energy. And the rest of, and that implies also cost of total ownership due to the operational cost, due to the energy consumption. But I guess what is more critical, and it's also the middleware, how you orchestrate and operate on those resources. Because without a proper orchestration tool, without the proper middleware that is able to take advantage of those compute resources, most of those resources get unutilized or badly utilized. And so that can lead to a further problem, recursive kind of approach to the deployment of those models or AI application, and so.
But what would be your solution? I get the problem.
Yeah.
I would completely
so
agree that
usually, like we avoid, like we know there is one major problem for all the adopters right now, which is the power consumption and the heat emission. We patented, like we have over 100 patents for 𝐁𝐞𝐫 technology, which is our liquid cooling kind of system. That is basically the future. What we see is the future of data center from now on. There's no way to cool down data center with air. And also, our technology is using water, like warm water. So it's not using chill water. So in that sense, you have less impact also in the environment, because you don't have to pre-cool the water before you put it in the data center. You use closed loop so that you can restart cold the water. And there is a nice example on how this can be used rather than as a challenge to be an advantage. 𝐁𝐷𝐿𝐼 here in Germany is using Lenovo technology and 𝐁𝐞𝐫 technology. And they are basically reheating part of the building by using the warm water coming out of the data center. So,
Carolina, where do you see the actual adoption in AI? Perhaps also at Nestlé itself. Certainly, this is a big company, and how challenging was it perhaps also to implement AI in your company?
Okay, so we are not a tech company. We are a food and beverages company. There's a big difference.
I think most know.
Yeah, I hope you do. And so in our case, it's a circle, right? So the way we operate is we try to be as efficient as possible, so then we can invest in our big brands and in our growth platforms. So then we can win in the marketplace, increase our revenue, increase our profits, and there we go again. So where we apply AI is everywhere, in achieving efficiencies in product development and marketing, commercial, and in then reaching consumers. So AI is adopted a bit everywhere, and Nestle in some places more than others. For example, we started already 25 years ago with the first model of machine learning, complex analytics. Now the big boom is really with Gen AI, but AI has been there for a long time, and that changes quite a few things. In our process, it helps us streamline. We have a lot of unstructured data that now we can structure much more easily than before.
Yeah.
We can give time back to our employees. We're almost 300,000. So we stop doing things that now a machine can do, and then we can do more of the things for which we were actually hired for. And then we can also engage with our consumers.
I can imagine that Nestle manages a vast data globally. I think that would be really interesting in looking into your data sets. What kind of key challenges in leveraging AI responsibly in product development or in the supply chains do you face there?
Okay, so we generate a lot of data. We buy data as well, and we trade data. It's a very short question for a very long answer. But what I would say, we have this model that responsible AI is the only AI we do. And that is embedded in the people, the technology, and the processes. So we have our AI statement that comes with governance. The governance is driven by security and compliance, IT, because it's a provider of technology, and legal. And we use, like most, I suppose, a risk-based model on which use cases we do, which use cases we don't. And then there's the technology piece, how we implement this. So we have that embedded in our enterprise architecture and in all the checkpoints, so data, privacy checkpoints. So at a technology level, so every time you need to create an application or buy one, there are the architectural reviews with checkpoints. We have AI-specific clauses in contracts with our partners, including AWS, because we don't develop the technology. Someone else's technology that we then deploy, in some cases customize. We really develop very little pieces of technology.
But how hard is
and then people.
Of course, when you're not developing yourselves the product, you have to integrate externally via partners and stuff like that. Do you are in a lock-in mode when you buy AI products in any kind, or do you diversify in the AI products that you?
We do diversify. We also have strategic partnerships. And so we co-create certain frameworks with our partners so that they allow the Nestle way to be delivered through their products. Or, for example, ChatGPT we talked about. We don't use ChatGPT at Nestle. We have what we call NestGPT, which is ChatGPT in our instance, where we control the data. And that, for example, I work with Nestle R&D. No data goes out, I can tell you, because there are trade secrets, and there's the opportunity cost of patenting as well.
Your Excellency, we just also heard that the journey between AI experimentation and solving well-defined business problems, where should organizations, in your point of view, place their strategic bets? So can you look a little bit into the future? What would you say? Because as Antonia also said, not all companies are adopting AI at the moment, but where should they put
I think the bet should be on a strategic AI that delivers business value, and also where experimentation is happening in a controlled and guided environment, but most importantly also it's deriving a business value too. So, and when we look into the value, I think this is something that we need to expand a bit on. So there is a return on employees, there is a return on investment, and as I said at early, just like I said, there is also a return on the future. So all of those areas, just like we need to look into while we are driving a value of an AI and identifying which strategic AI that we are implementing and what business values we are driving out of it. So a tangible outcome is really a high necessity for any implementation of AI within an organization. So when you look into future-proof, this is where experimentation is really needed. And then for experimentation, you definitely need to have in place a sandbox environment, and those environment is more safe, controlled to do those kind of experimentation that's looking towards your future. But when you look into the return on investment today, this is where we are enhancing the efficiency. This is we are increasing the productivity and also adding a more, I would say, outcome to the business in a way that we are really feeling the speed and the agility that the organization is going into. This is where you need to have it under a more controlled environment. So between the two, it really depends on just like which of the values that you are trying to deliver within an organization. But what I can say over here is really important is each organization needs to have a governance framework for AI being in place. So as the city of Dubai, we do have an AI policy that's guiding the implementation of AI across Dubai. It's looking at the governance element of it, from data, from how do you really prioritize your use case, how do you identify the return of investment. We're also looking into ethical implementation of it. There's like, is it inclusive, is it safe, is it fair, and is it explainable? But also at the end, we are also looking from this policy approach towards the sustainability of it. It's like at the end of the day, you need to drive a value out of it, and you need to do it in a sustainable way. So yes, experimentation is important, but accountability is also something that we need to deliver on.
You just talked about the framework which was delivered there. How long did it take you to deliver this framework? Because I can guess there's a lot of discussion that would happen place. What is the right key factors for this framework?
Well, I think, like, again, I would say like the journey didn't start today. It's 2.5 decades of digitization. Yeah. So that decades of digitization, like we've looked at it layer by layer. So the ICT governance framework is really important. The second layer, like I would say, like from 2014 all the way till 20, we've really solved the data governance layer. Yeah. And then there's like the application side of it. It's like which applications the city is using. And now with AI, you really need everything else. And with it, it's wrapped with security. So I wouldn't say there's like it's completely fresh, but it's really using the wealth of knowledge that we've came from. There's like this long, but also just like tweaking it for the purpose of an AI. You really need to strike the balance between the two sides of it. And this is where we are keeping ourselves always adaptable and agile into maintaining it. So what's really different in Dubai is that issuing a policy, it doesn't take that long. We do have a reg lab. So a reg lab, this is when an area where we put like any idea and any disruptive technology into idea of developing a new technology or a new policy for that technology. And we also just like have for each policy an expiry date. And we go into a renewal cycle of just like every year or every second year, we need to renew our policies and remain relevant to the time we are in today.
Antonia, we talked about the implementation of AI. Where do you see perhaps some hidden costs which are not addressed directly, and what people or companies have to think about?
Yeah, maybe just another number I want to leave you with today. In all of the technology spend that enterprises currently have, let's say technology spend is at 100 euros, 40 euros of the technology spend is on compliance in Europe, which is, what a number, 40. Yeah. And when you think about it, that's what I was trying to say earlier around like these moving puzzles and how do the regulations fit together. It's not that surprising, right, that so much is spent on compliance, but really thinking positively, and I know we probably want to end this on a positive note, there's a lot of potential to reduce that number and to free up funds and budget to invest it in the technology. So that's maybe one point, one number I want to leave you with. Yeah.
Valerio, His Excellency's talked also about the need of experimentation in AI. How important do you see that? And is this experimentation part also something which is a hidden cost, perhaps in this case, that you have to calculate in?
Yeah, that's. I was actually pointing at that sentence and that quote there. Experimentation, it's a lot of cost, and it's more than. Sometimes we look at the training cost when we get that when we hear numbers about AI training, is mostly related to a specific part of the pipeline of the workflow. But actually, like all the experimentation coming before you actually train the model or you deploy the model is part of those costs. And we are taking also that challenge in account, and we developed an innovation center, for example, in Oulu, that is using completely energy, solar resources to do benchmarking for AI and HPC in our facilities. this is at least is our effort to reduce the overall cost for the customers when it comes to AI development and also sizing the infrastructure, which is a critical moment for any customer approaching and deploying AI. You don't know exactly what is the overall infrastructure need, compute need, before you actually test it. And that part is also an additional cost. I wouldn't say it's a need and cost.
Carolina, last question for you. You have hundreds of thousands of people who work for Nestlé. I know that there's a discussion in Germany with the implementation of AI. You have to educate your workforce in AI. What kind of experiences, and these are also a kind of hidden cost, because training the workforce is also a money thing.
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, I think we bring the hidden costs. Of course, we have infrastructure, licenses, integration costs as well, like everyone else. But I would say for us one is the one you pointed out, the people. So we need to upskill and in some cases reskill our employees and bring the entire organization along change, which is a technology change and an emotional one as well. It scares many off. And also the processes, because we are not only re-engineering some processes, in some cases we're reimagining a bit what you're saying. You can reimagine the way you do things, even stop doing certain things and no longer make sense. We are close to 160 years old. Some of the things, I mean, technology is younger than that, okay? The one that we have in production, but some of it is quite old. So yeah, there's a lot of hidden costs. I see that also, and we see that also as an investment, though. Yeah. It's an investment. I really love your concept of return in the future. It's really that. But yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, so fast 30 minutes can go by the wind. I want to thank you for listening to us, and please give a warm hand to our really esteemed panel. Thank you so much, and have a good day at GITEX.